what's going on? It's your girl, Miss Wilson. I'm back. And this is my review of Basketball Wives Season 10, Episode 2. So, we picking up off with the whole Malaysia and Brandi situation. I'm going to tell you something. Already, it's really stressful. Especially when you watch this when it's hot. Because here's the thing. Do you want to be friends or do you want to keep your distance? Do you want to be enemies? What is it? Now, it's a lot of whining in the situation because it's like, Malaysia, let's just keep ourselves from a distance. And Brandi's like, I have a real problem with you not sending your condolences. And you have a character flaw. Why are you attacking my character? We don't have time for this, okay? Either do you want to be friends? Do you want to just, be cordial? Do you want to be enemies? What is it? Because I'm going to say, I think it's something more to this. Now, the sister to Noria, I forget how to pronounce her name. She is the wife of Sean Taggart, who plays overseas power forward. And pretty much that's how she's part of the clique. Now, Nia, I don't know. Now, Jennifer basically escorts Malaysia over, and Malaysia tells Jennifer, I don't miss Brandi. I don't miss her. No. And Jennifer's like, you don't miss her? No. I don't miss her at all. So, Brooke consoles Brandi, and Brandi's like, I'm totally fine. I'm cool. And I just feel like both of them are pretty much full of shit. You're not fine. You miss your friend. That's your homie. Your homegirl. So, we go to the next scene. Because I don't want to dwell on that. I really don't. And Brooke is getting her nipples pierced. And Brooke talks about how she got married 5 years ago. So, she got married around about 2015, 2016. Because if you remember Brooke in season 2, Brooke was a party girl. She was single. I forgot who she was dating and how she was fit into the show. But I really liked season 2 of Basketball Wives LA. To me, they're the better cast. So, she basically talks about how meeting Brandi and meeting just a lot of women was a breath of fresh air. Because it seems like in this season, Jackie is the head dog, honcho, and Queen Bee, OG. And she brought all the girls together. And with the exception of Malaysia, it seems like they all basically came together because of Jackie. So, Brooke is like, Brandi could use a good friend. And Brandi feels the same way. And she's basically like, how like living out in LA with the ocean and everything, it helps her get through her father's passing. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to make friends regardless. I don't need Malaysia. Bingo. You have the husband thing. I have some things to say about that. But you can make friends on your own. There was a time when you didn't know Malaysia. You could do it. So we move on after we see Brooke and her piercings. And Brandi says something that's very interesting. And she says, how can, Brooke's titties, they basically sit all nice and firm and at the top. It's like, why she want to mess with them? Why she want to, like, pierce them and everything? And it's like she really was attracted to her titties. Okay. So, we see Iman and Duffy having, I believe it's dinner, over at Angel and RoccStar's home. But I think it's really Angel's home. Now, forgive me for what I'm about to say, but when I saw Iman and Angel sitting across each other, I thought of A Whole New World, the song. I thought of Aladdin and Jasmine. Because let's keep it real. Don't Iman and Angel look like they would make a good couple? Like just with the face and everything. I know it's wrong for me to say that because Duffy is his woman. And he treats Duffy nice. in my opinion. Now, Rock, on the other hand, that's a whole nother story. And so, Duffy is asking Angel, like, what basically attracted y'all to each other? Like, how's the relationship going? Crickets. And so RoccStar is like, me, I'm an opinionated person, She's a Libra, I'm a Scorpio. And Duffy's like, oh, I heard some bad things about y'all. And so he's like, well, I don't know. It is what it is, People think that, like we're underhanded, like we're about our money, which they are about their money. But she asked Angel again, like, what attracted you to her? What attracted you to him? She's like, I don't know what attracted me to Rock. And so Duffy's like, something about this ain't right. And I agree. How you don't know what attracted you to the man? And so Rock is like, well, maybe it could be something hormonal. And so he's like, it could be something hormonal. She's like, yeah, it could be hormones because, like, I'm pregnant, and it's like, sometimes, my mind is so busy, dealing with a lot of stuff. But she goes from talking about, I don't know what attracted me to Rock, to talking about hormones, and then being like, sometimes I feel like the respect is not reciprocated, and I just feel like, I'm a Libra, and I just love balance, which is true. They all about the balance. That's the central theme of Libra. And it's just like, I just want to be reciprocated. And if respect is not reciprocated, now this had me bugged out. I'll just stay quiet, and I won't say anything, and I'll just be like, all right. Like, you're not going to walk off and leave. You're just going to stand there and shrug your shoulders. And she said, because my mother and my father, I never saw my mother argue with my father. And I'm not going to do that. Now, here's the thing. This is cultural differences at play. That's not astrology. First of all, she's Armenian. Okay? Women from the Balkans or have those backgrounds, they don't argue with men. I know this for a fact. It's American women that we do this because we're the most free women on the planet, is the American woman, particularly Black American women. Now, with Rock, being a Black man, he's basically going to be opinionated. It is what it is. And she probably she wants it to work with Rock. Her husband was Black, and what happened with him was sad. She doesn't want to go through that anymore, the trauma of how that marriage ended. So it's a lot with Angel. Now, we get to Latasha Duffy. She don't understand the relationship at all. And she was like, something's not right. But she got her own set of issues too, because I Want DJ Duffy is a self-taught DJ, became a DJ when she was going through a divorce from her husband, who's the father of her son. And she basically went online and studied the art of DJing and then got a job with Fresh Montana. Now, Iman, who is an NBA agent, he wants her to stay at home with him, the son, and Shadi. Shadi is so beautiful. Oh, that's a beautiful little girl. Now, I agree to a point that you have an infant daughter. Your daughter needs you, Duffy. You don't need to be trampling around the world with French when you should be doing that with your husband, your daughter, and your son. But the same token, if this is how she makes her money and you met her as a DJ doing this, you know what it is, Iman. See, it's not like she was doing this before. She was doing this after y'all met. She was doing this before. So you can't take away her lifeline. But he's determined, and he's like, how do you want to live your life? Do you want to be a wife and a mom, or do you want to be a working full-time woman? And she's like, I don't know. And Iman wants her home. But this relationship to me makes more sense. It's not like that whole Angel and RoccStar thing. RoccStar to me, I think, is bipolar. I remember him from Love and Hip Hop and on the Hollywood season 5. That's all I gotta say. So now we get to Malaysia and drum roll, Zell Swag. Now, I don't need to say anything about Zell Swag. He speaks for himself. Love and Hip Hop, Hollywood season 4, season 6, Love and Hip Hop family reunion, and he was on another Love and Hip Hop. That's all. So, best friends for 6.5 years. Malaysia discusses, how her life has been. She feel like life is messing with her because she's dealing with this whole thing with Gennaro Pargo. He don't want to pay child support. The kids are basically in Atlanta while she's basically in LA. She's a single mom. So she's working out in LA. She on a show, And she's like, this whole thing with Brandi is getting annoying because it's like, I don't have time for this. Brandi, you're not a single mom. You've never been a single mother. You're married. I've been a single mom for a couple of years now. And that is a stressful thing in itself. And I'm taking care of my kids because Gennaro won't pay child support. I don't have time to deal with your shenanigans. Now, I will say this. I do believe Malaysia knew that Brandi's father passed away. I believe it. And she should have reached out and said condolences to her. But besides all that, the Brandi thing is stressful. Especially if you're dealing with real life shit. Who got time to think about, the relationship with your ex-best friend? Or ex-friend for that matter. So she cries and says, I don't want people to leave me alone. I'm going through depression. I'm going through other stuff. I'm dealing with this. I can't take it anymore. And so I'm like, okay. All right. So now we move on to the hair salon scene. So British, Brooke, Duffy, Noria, and Brandi are there. And basically, Brooke is about to have her birthday party. Team Cancer. I'm not a Cancer, I'm a Leo. And she basically said, Jackie is going to be there. Jennifer's going to be out of town. Malaysia is going to be invited. And so Brandi's like, I still want to be best friends with Malaysia. And so, I don't like to see people talk bad about her. And so Duffy's like, that's right. Don't you talk about her ex-best friend. And so they have a laugh. And British is one of those girls, in my opinion. I don't know what it is. British remind me of girls from Harlem that I grew up with, that I was really cool with. But she's from Missouri. I don't know if she's from St. Louis, but she's from Missouri. But anyway, what ends up happening is that we see the next scene with Angel Brinks, and it's Doja. No. Okay, so we see Angel Brinks at the shop, and we hear her talk about how your girl is moving up in the world. She got clients who are the likes of Doja Cat, Saweetie, Mary J. Blige, Meg Thee Stallion, and Cardi B. And she's taking over the industry with her line, Angel Brinks Collection. And let me say something. The clothes are fabulous. They're fabulous. So she's very creative. She understands the woman's body form. And she says that it's an escape from real world issues. And that's really, deep. That she's using her talents for positive things and making money from it. And she basically, is working on this big dress for Doja's event that's coming up in 5 months. So I think it's probably, if we're in July, it's probably like maybe the Grammys or something like that. Who knows? So we move on from that and we deal with British and Duffy. Now, British and Malaysia and Brandi, they go back to season 4, 2013. No, season 3, 2013. Duffy knows Brandi since they were 15 years old. So they basically met at the wedding, And everybody is like, looking forward to meeting these new friendships. Because I think that's the theme of the season. Connecting with like OG cast members that you never met. Which I think is good. And so she basically, calls, British her sister because they are alike in a lot of different aspects. So they take a shot of a 1942. I never had a 1942. And it's bitter. But they're happy and hanging out. And so Duffy says that Brandi would still rather hang out with Malaysia than all of us if she had the option. And once they become cool again, they're going to be friends again. And I believe it. They'll be friends again. And Duffy says, I've known Brandi since I was 15 years old. Brandi needs new friendships. It is what it is. And British like, I agree with you. But at the same time, it's like, what's the whole big issue? Like, they need to just sit down, talk, and become friends. And that's how I feel. And I do believe, like, she really wants to be Malaysia's friend. But Malaysia really don't want to be her friend. And that's the thing that I think is bugging Brandi. But this is the thing. This is my opinion. I believe it was something more to it. I think Brandi, I'm not saying Brandi's a lesbian, but I think Brandi really loved Malaysia. Because the way she talks and protects her, it's like a relationship. I don't think Malaysia felt that way. But I think Brandi was in love with Malaysia. If you remember season 15, when Brandi got kicked off and said, thank you for your services, when she was told that by, what's that woman's name? Shawnee O'Neal. That reunion, Tammy said, you had an issue with me? Baby, I'm the reason why y'all still got a show. I came here to save y'all. And she said, and from what I heard, y'all act like y'all, from what I heard, to paraphrase, y'all supposed to be girlfriend and girlfriend. And it was like, whoa. And Malaysia was like, whoa. But Brandi really wasn't taking that back by that. So I don't know. I'm not saying she's a lesbian. But I think that there's some real deep feelings that Brandi had for Malaysia. Because the way she protects her and the way they argue is not like a best friend. I've never seen anything like it. It's very much like we was in a relationship and I love you and you basically did me dirty. So we move on to the birthday party. Brooke came in with this fabulous, gorgeous black lace dress. And we meet her husband, Steve, of 5 years. Steve is bald-headed, but he's nice looking. And Malaysia isn't there. And so people are already assuming it's because of Brandi. But Jackie said it may be other reasons. She got a situation with her ex-husband and her kids. But you find out later on the episode what it is. And so she's still rubbing the whole best friend thing in, as in Duffy is rubbing it in with Brandi. And Angel basically, gets a phone call from RoccStar. And RoccStar's like, Angel, what are you doing? And so Angel's like, oh my God, he's annoying. So she's like, guys, I'm leaving. I'm going home. And Duffy's like, this whole thing with Rock, something ain't right with the relationship. I'm concerned. I'm really concerned for Angel at this point. So what happens is Angel, well, first of all, they try, the oyster test. They basically, eat the oysters. So with the oysters, you got to basically swallow the oyster in whole. So everybody does it, but Jackie does not swallow. So Jackie finally does it, but she spits it out. And so Brooke says, yeah, because she couldn't take the oyster because she said it was slippery. And she was like, that's because you don't give Doug you know what? You don't do for Lele, for your husband. Which is true. She don't. She loved Doug, but she said she's never done that. And I remember watching that, and I remember people was like, you know what? For her to have never done that, he must really loves her. So, hey. So, basically, Brooke is reaching her limit with Duffy, and she tells her, it's not cool that you rubbing this thing about best friendship with Malaysia, all, throughout the event. I want you to stop it. So then she was like, and this is Duffy, that stop defending her. And you know what Brooke, Brandi says? I love her, and I'm just used to defending her. And I feel like our breakup is like a divorce, and I'm going to always defend her. First of all, I ain't never heard no goddamn mess like that. A best friendship that's broken, that's not existent, is like a divorce. The only thing that it would feel like a divorce is if you was effing, or if you was in love with her and she didn't respond back. I'm telling you, it's something to this. So Jackie basically, is recovering from the swallowing of the oysters, and then they get up, they dance, they have fun, they have their little good basketball wives moment. And so we get to Jackie calling Malaysia. So she was like, I miss you, girl, at Brooke's party. And so she's like, I went to Atlanta to visit the kids. And I asked the kids, do you want to choose between staying at Atlanta or moving to LA? So they were like, we want to move to LA. So they're moving to LA, where Malaysia is, pretty much from. And they live in a 2-bedroom apartment with their mother. Going from a mansion to a 2-bedroom. Wow. It's a lot of stress with that. Malaysia don't have the money like she once had. Because Geneva don't have the money. And it proves that Malaysia has moved on. But Brandi hasn't. Because the whole time, she wasn't not in attendance because of Brandi. It was because of her children. So then we meet a woman named Zoe Young, who is a music executive, and she works with French Montana, who is the employer of Duffy. So Shadi, the little baby, and Iman are basically coming home, and they basically as in Duffy and Iman, tell Zoe, he don't want to be working for French anymore. He want me to be a stay-at-home mom. And she's like, what? And so she's like, we got to get French on the phone. So French is basically like, when I hired you 4 years ago, I hired you because you had that drive and you was passionate about DJing. If you going to leave, because I want to know if you're ready to come back on the road. If you decide that you're going to take a break from DJing, you can't come back. So now it's this whole, big decision that she's basically got to figure out on her own. So meanwhile, it ends with Angel going over to, Duffy going over to Angel to basically talk about the situation. And she admires Angel as a single mother because she has, 3 kids and she has a career and balance and whatever. And she wants that. And they discuss the French convo. But then it goes from the French convo to Rock. And she says, Rock and I had an argument and he blew everything out of proportion. And I think it's best for us to take time apart. First of all, while Duffy is trying to explore her options, she got to hear this, thinking that she's going to get advice from Angel, because Angel's a career woman. Let me tell you something. She did not know Rock like that. to get in a relationship with him. You can tell Rock is one of those men that he really saw Angel as arm candy. And he's a black man that I don't think likes black women. And you're going to see that this season on the throughout the different episodes. And I feel as though he got with Angel because she got a bigger name and she could connect them and she got the money. Rock don't have money like that, but Angel does. She's a millionaire. And I feel if she wasn't pregnant, he would be beating her ass. I'm just going to come out and say it. And the only one that's really putting it together is the woman that has issues going on with her, situate her fiancé-ship with her career. And that's Duffy. Nobody else is really figuring it out. And that's my review of season 10, episode 2 of Basketball Wives. I'm going to leave it at that. And thank you for listening. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel so that you will receive notices of my uploads on various commentaries dealing with current events, reviews of my favorite television shows, scripted, reality TV, movies. Also, notices on lives. Also, like, comment, and share. And I'll be back soon. Later.